When I graduated from college, my first job was at a tiny little newspaper in Carmel, California, called the Carmel Pine Cone. Isn't that an adorable name? And when I got there, I was one of three reporters, the youngest, newest, wettest under the ears reporter there. And within 3 weeks, the other two reporters were fired, and I was the only one remaining. And I was informed by my male boss that I would now be doing the job of all three reporters without a pay increase. I was making $13,000 a year. That's about $21,000 in today's money in a city, well, in a tiny little hamlet, where the average cost of a home is about $1.3 million. $21,000 a year, median home price, $1.3 million. And I was basically pulled a bait and switch, arrived thinking I'm doing 1/3 of this amount of work for that money, and only to be told, nope, now you'll be doing all of the work of three people for the same amount of money. So, thankfully, not sure how I had the gumption at that young age, I quit the same day. I said, I can't do this. It's not right. And what did that male boss tell me? You should be grateful to have this job. And if you think you're going to find a better one in journalism, you're going to need to find a new industry. A few months later, I got a better job making more money in a city in California that doesn't cost as much, though nearly as much. It still didn't pay great, but it paid better, and I was respected. And I'm sharing this story because I have a feeling that you have one that's similar, maybe not exactly the same, but of a time when you were told you should just be grateful. In fact, you probably have a lot of these stories where you were told to be grateful for getting less than what you deserved. Guess what? Patriarchy has always done this to women, to people of color, to our LGBTQ friends, people with disabilities, basically to any non-cis, non-white man. Weaponizing gratitude in this way is a really clever way of maintaining systems, maintaining control. Just make the person who's getting the short end of the stick feel bad that they're not grateful for getting any stick at all. Hey, women, be grateful you have jobs, even if you make 80 cents on the dollar compared to men, or 62 cents on the dollar if you're a black woman, or 54 cents on the dollar if you're a Hispanic or Latino woman. Be grateful even though people with disabilities are still twice as likely to be unemployed as people without disabilities. Women, be grateful that you now make up nearly 50% of the workforce, even though 83% of sexual harassment cases are filed by women, and only 5% of Fortune 500 companies have CEOs that are women. Women, be grateful that you have children and that you can spend time with them, even though you're basically expected to be the default parent and you get no meaningful time off to raise those children or any support in their ongoing care. Women, be grateful that you can vote now, even though women only represent 24% of the members of Congress, 9% for women of color, and voter suppression laws are being passed with increasing regularity. Be grateful that you can make choices about your own body, even though 90% of rape victims are women, and 10% of all women will be raped. Not to mention the $532 billion beauty industry and $100 billion diet and fitness industries that tell you nonstop there's something wrong with your body. Be grateful for your freedom, even while blacks are incarcerated at a rate 5 times that of whites, and black children are detained at a rate 3 times their percentage of the population. Be grateful you can love whoever you want, even though 1 in 4 LGBTQ Americans faced discrimination last year, and more than 3 in 5 transgender Americans faced discrimination, and 15% of LGBTQ Americans postponed or avoided medical treatment because of discrimination. 3 in 10 transgender Americans did the same. I could go on and on, of course. Even when it's not these big systemic issues, though, this kind of dismissive gratitude is by design. It's using shame, blame, and guilt to turn systemic issues into a personal, individual failing and shortcoming. It's BS. Making a person feel selfish, greedy, ungrateful for wanting more, better, different is a really crappy but clever way to keep them from making meaningful change. Gaslighting is an effective tool for keeping people exactly where they are, because wanting any different would make them bad. We have so much more than our mothers and our grandmothers did. There are people in the world who have so much less or nothing. Who are we to not be thankful? We should just focus on gratitude for what we do have, right? Gratitude is wonderful, and it's really effective for creating positive feelings in ourselves. When, and this is a big win, it comes from a place that feels powerful. When it feels expansive and abundant. When it feels like a choice we want to make, not one that is being put on us. Not when it feels constrictive. Not when it feels like it's no longer a choice. And even if we decide to focus on gratitude, that does not mean we have to also then accept resignation. You can still be sad or angry about what you don't have, what you aren't getting. And sometimes that anger can actually be turned into righteous anger when the system or when it is something unjust that is keeping you from what you want. We can use that anger to affect meaningful change. That's the difference between a righteous anger and a blind anger. One is anger for anger's sake. The other is fuel for making change. Righteous anger does not have to mean that you are ungrateful. You can be both grateful for what you have, grateful for your life, and angry and righteously so, and using that as fuel to make a change, to go for more, to demand more. So the next time someone tells you you should just be grateful, you don't have to accept it at face value. You get to ask, well, should I? Should I be grateful? Do I want to be grateful? And can I be grateful and angry? Can I be grateful and sad? Can I be grateful and some other emotion? And the answer is yes, you are allowed. And I would encourage you as well, the next time you think about telling someone to focus on gratitude, come at it from a place of permission. Would it feel good to shift into gratitude here? Or would it feel good to channel this into righteous anger to create meaningful change? Or might it feel good to do both? Let the other person decide what feels good to them. Enforced gratitude is weaponized gratitude, and it is not helpful, and very often it is harmful. So let's start opting out.